Hey Greyhounds fans, thank you for listening to another episode of the Hounds Huddle podcast on Moraviansports.com, the Greyhound Sports Network, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. I am LJ Smith, Assistant Director of Athletic Communications here at Moravian University, and on this episode, I sat down with head golf coach and Moravian alum, Kevin Edwards. Kevin and I discussed his days as a student athlete, concluding with his 12th year as the head coach of the Moravian Greyhounds golf program. So let's get this episode underway and meet our guest, Kevin Edwards. And thank you again for joining us on the Greyhound Sports Network, Moraviansports.com, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. I have Kevin Edwards, the head men's golf coach here at Moravian University, also an alum of Moravian College as myself. It's kind of still weird getting used to the whole college-university transition for me. I don't know about you, but...
I still find myself saying college once in a while. Yeah, I'm used to it, so yeah, it's different.
So thank you for joining me and sitting down and kind of having the opportunity to reflect back on the past season, but also your career and what got you to Moravian as a student athlete, but now also as a coach going into your 13th season at the helm of the squad. So thank you for taking some time with me here, Kevin.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me, LJ.
All right, so let's get into it. Was golf the first sport you played? How did you kind of get involved in that? Was there any other sport that kind of drew your interest?
Well, growing up, I played mostly three sports: like golf, basketball, and baseball. Mm-hmm. Golf I got into probably latest, when I was 13, 14. And then coming to Moravian, I met Bernie Story, the old director of admissions, at a golf tournament one time, and talked to Coach Mack. And I had the opportunity. I knew I could play golf here. Playing at Saucon Valley was a good draw. Going down the Way Hill was interesting. And I also was able to walk on and play basketball here for a few years. So I got to have two of my passions and stay in shape and make a lot of friends that way by being on two teams. And I was always busy, so it was definitely a good choice for me to be involved with two sport programs and get the college experience that way.
So you're growing up and you're playing these three sports. You mentioned you picked golf up late. So what was that like in high school? Was there a golf team for your high school? Did you kind of just play on the side, have lessons? What did that look like?
We did have a golf team. My freshman year, I still played football.
Okay.
And then I broke a couple bones and decided that wasn't for me anymore. And I wasn't getting any bigger. So I went to golf my sophomore year. So I kind of got into competitive golf a little later. Okay. Especially then. When I was in high school, there weren't a lot of junior tours, all that stuff going on. So it was hard to play a lot of competitive golf. You played mostly against adults. So you had to figure it out quick or else you really got beat pretty bad. So just going through that process, I grew up working at Green Pond, which is in Bethlehem, which got me around a lot of guys. I played with some other guys that went to Division I schools. Two went to Seton Hall, so I played a lot of golf with those guys. So just playing with those guys and learning, and I knew I could play here, and it was just a good experience and made a lot of good friends while I was here at school too.
Were you recruited? You alluded to meeting the director of admissions. What was that like, kind of getting drawn to Moravian? Obviously, you mentioned playing at Way Hill. That's a gorgeous course, and it's a nice draw here. But anything else that kind of stuck out to you about Moravian? Were there any other schools that were interested?
I looked at a couple. I was looking at Bloomsburg and Shippensburg at the time. Okay. Because I was going into accounting, and they had two strong programs for that. But basically, I got drawn here. I did have a history here. A couple of my cousins went here. I used to go to football games here when I was 8, 9, 10 years old. I remember going on Rocco Calvo Field and hanging out. So I didn't know then that I'd be coming to Moravian, but I did have a pass of the school, the community feel, the close family atmosphere at the school was a big draw. I didn't want to go too far away from home. I grew up in Nazareth, so I was 20, 25 minutes away from home, but I was still away from home. But if I wanted to jump back home, I could bring friends home. We could hang out at the house. And so it was the best of both worlds for me that way.
That's amazing. And you get to play under the legendary Coach John Mackovic. What was that experience like, getting to go out on a course and learn from Coach Mack every day?
It was great. He was probably, next to my father, he's probably the next person in line that was as close to a father that I could have in life. He's a great man, great teacher. He had rules, but he was still fun to be around. If he beat you once in a while, he'd remind you about it. I remember he had a scorecard hanging in his office for years that he beat me in 9 holes by like 3. He had a career round and shot like a 33, and I shot 36, and he had that up there forever for me, so to remind me. So when I took over for him, it was it was an honor to be asked. He had asked me a bunch of times to take over, and it finally fit in my career that I had time that I could break away and do it. 43 years was a long time for him to be here, and to fill those shoes is big.
Very tall task.
Very, yeah. But it was an honor to be asked. Out of all the alumni that are still in the area, that he considered me for the position was a great honor.
So your playing career here, what was it like competing at the Division III level? Because you did look at Division II schools. You played with D1 student athletes as well. Did you notice a difference in the game? Because golf is very individual, also a team aspect to it. But did you notice anything different? Or is it kind of like it's the game of golf?
You're not going to see as deep a talent pool at Division III. I mean, the good players are good. I was probably an average player in college. I bloomed more after college, just like a lot of the players do.
Yeah.
They get more mature and learn things. But at the time when I was in school, we still play. We didn't play as many invitationals as we do now. It was more just match-based. So you would go and play like 2 or 3 teams and play head-to-head basically against them. So it was a little different. We used to take 8 players to those.
Okay.
Compared to the 5 we take now and count 4. So you need to have a little bit deeper team. Yeah. Which was easier back then because not every school there wasn't many golf programs per se, and they all didn't play great golf courses. Okay. That's why Moravian was a draw, because we played at Saucon. A lot of other places were playing at public golf courses, things like that, which now a lot of them play at private country clubs. So that's kind of leveled the playing field a little bit. Yeah.
And that draw with playing at Saucon Valley, having that connection is incredible, because that course is immaculate, and to have the opportunity and the connection with Moravian and Saucon Valley to play there. What was it like practicing there? Just like every day
It was pretty awesome, because when I came to school that summer, the Senior Open was at Saucon Valley. Wow. In 1992. Yeah. So when we play Way Hill, which is by some is considered the better of the 3 golf courses. Yeah. It's just not the tournament golf course. So to be there and have the history there at the club and just knowing a lot of alumni, I mean, the way that was set up, I mean, Bethlehem Steel owned Way Hill at the time when I was in school, and when it was set up, when Coach Mack, he met with a CEO of the Bethlehem Steel and Martin Tower, which isn't here anymore either, and kind of went down the guidelines, and they said, yeah, well, you guys can do all that, and wow. And there's how it happened. And we, the first couple of years, it was, if you saw 12, 16 people out there, it was a lot of people on the golf course, because it was, the Saucon members had to pay extra to play it. Yeah. And they didn't pay the extra because it was a pretty big surcharge. So it was basically just Bethlehem Steel people out there with clients and making business deals. So our rules were just stay away from anybody out there. They come up behind you, get out of the way. Don't rush up and hit into people, and we'll get along. So it was a nice experience to be down there and enjoy the facility.
That's incredible. So thinking back, you mentioned it was more of a match play than the tournament or invitationals now. Any matches that stick out in your head that were memorable, whether good, bad, or indifferent for you?
Memorable ones were we only lost 2 in my whole career here. Wow. I think it was 2 or maybe 3. And they were all the Division I schools. Okay. We lost to Lehigh twice, and we lost to Wagner once. Okay. But we also beat Lehigh and a couple other Division I schools, because we had the Lehigh Valley Collegiate Cup back then, which was us, Lehigh, Lafayette, and Muhlenberg played in an event. Okay. And we won that 2 out of the 4 years. So that was kind of cool to be able to beat the Division I guys, and because nothing against Division III, but they always think they're Division I guys always think they're better than Division III guys. It was nice to have, especially local bragging rights for that for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because obviously we weren't all being recruited and going places, so we just we played well as a team. We hung out a lot. Yeah. Just enjoyed. The biggest thing I think with the college golf scene is the travel, because it's such a small group traveling too, that you get to really know each other a lot better. I mean, compared to a football team or a baseball team, which has a lot of players. I mean, they still know each other, but they're not. We travel. We stay in a house now, or back then we were staying in a hotel room for 4 guys or 8 guys in 2 hotel rooms. So it was got to know each other pretty well.
Absolutely, yeah. So you finish up your playing career here. What was the next step for you? What was the path you wanted to take after Moravian?
I decided pretty much, I think, between my sophomore and junior year. I liked accounting, but I couldn't see myself sitting in an office all day and doing that. So I really considered going into the golf profession at that point. But I wanted to finish out my degree and get my business degree, and because I could use that anywhere in life down the road. So when I graduated, I entered which was the golf professional training program. Okay. So that was 3 levels of classwork that you take, and then go get tested on. And then that's how you enter your PGA membership.
Okay.
So I had to go through all that process, and I got my membership in April of 2000 is when I became a PGA member. So just basically going to work where I was working. I was at Southmore Golf Course at the time. We were having our invitationals there at that point. I just stayed there with Jim Muschlitz for a bunch of years, and I left there in the fall of 2000 to go work at Lehigh Country Club.
Okay.
Which was a better opportunity, private country club, get some experience there. And I was there for a little over 4 years. And during that time I was there, the golf coach at Muhlenberg College actually left to take another job with the soccer, because he was a soccer coach also.
Okay.
And the team actually recommended me, so I ended up coaching at Muhlenberg for 2 years while I was an assistant pro at Lehigh, which was a great experience. The kids, wanted me, so it was nice to do that. And we were able to, in the second year, we won the conference.
Wow.
Which was
okay. Yeah.
Which is amazing, because the talent level on that team wasn't as strong as some of the teams I've had here at Moravian. Mm-hmm. It just depends on timing and
absolutely
who's good at the time. And because we beat Gettysburg, F&M, Swarthmore, McDaniel, they were all a pretty strong team. So to win that was a nice accomplishment.
That's incredible.
But at that point, when I left Lehigh Country Club, then I went to Riverview. I opened Riverview in Easton.
Okay.
At that point, I gave up coaching the golf team because I just didn't have time. Or it was a little bit farther away. And during that time, too, I was coaching high school basketball for 10 years.
Oh, wow. So just overlap like crazy.
Yeah, so
just not having any downtime at all.
I coached with guys I went to school with. So when I was in school here, I still started. After I gave up playing basketball here, I started coaching basketball at the freshman level.
Okay.
Locally at Freedom with my old former high school coach. And then I moved around with some of those guys that I coached with. In the last 2 years, we were up in Penargil. So it wasn't for money, because I lived in Quakertown.
Oh, so you're just
I
all
worked
over
at Lehigh
the place.
Country Club, and then I coached in Penargil. And then I drove home at night. So it was just for being around the guys and being around the sport. So I'm kind of a sports junkie. I like watching sports and still playing sports. And it's evolved with having kids.
Absolutely.
Coaching all their teams and being around them. And now I'm a booster club with my son's high school basketball team. So now I'm
always doing something, keeping yourself busy.
Keep myself busy. Yeah, that downtime between in high school between basketball and baseball, that 1 week was boring.
Yeah, you didn't know what to do with yourself.
Yeah.
So what was that experience like? You're coaching at the high school level for basketball. You're a club pro at a couple different courses. You're coaching at the collegiate level. You finally take that step just to take over and open Riverview. What kind of led to that decision? Because that's a big project to take on, and it's a lot of work and time that goes into it. Your experiences led you to feel like you're ready to take that step?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's something I'm lucky enough in my career, I opened 2 golf facilities. Because I was at Southmore with Jim Muschlitz when they opened. So I already had that background a little bit.
Okay.
Which I really think helped me get the Riverview job, because it was brand new. I started there in March, and we didn't open until September.
Okay.
So I did a lot of the setup of the facility and everything else. So I think it was a great opportunity. I wanted to stay in the area. My family was all here, so to get a head position in the area was great. And I was there for 5 years, which was a good experience. And I got back into private a little bit for about 8 years, and now I'm back in public again at Old Homestead, and I've been there. This is my 6th season there. So
okay.
My owners there really give me the opportunity to coach, give me the freedom to get away with the team, which is they understand the value in being in 2 different places, and the promotion of Old Homestead with me being at Moravian and vice versa. So I think it's a good combination, because we host events at Old Homestead.
Correct. We'll get to that wonderful event of cold, sleet, and snow a little later.
That was the whole spring this year.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely not the warmest spring you've had during your tenure. When did you get the call from Coach Mack to come in and take over the Moravian program?
Multiple times. Couple times when I was at Riverview, it just didn't work timing-wise.
Okay.
Too much on my plate, really, and the ownership there wasn't as flexible. But then when I went to the other club, I went to Woodstone up in Danielsville, and he caught me in the middle of transitioning, so I could go in there and say, here, I'm going to be doing this also.
Yeah.
And if they were okay with it, it worked out. So he called me probably that winter, probably January, February, that he was going to retire after the spring.
Okay.
And I came in as an associate, kind of see what was going on, learn what was going on, learn the behind the scenes kind of stuff a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I took over the fall of the following year, which has been a great experience. Getting to know all the kids, and now they're getting married and have kids and everything else. So it makes me feel a little older. So I felt old when the kids I was recruiting were born after I graduated from Moravian.
Yeah, that like sinks in a little bit.
But yeah. But it's great. I mean, the kids are really good. We have a lot of supportive parents that come and watch the events. Past class with Thomas, Will, and Nick, their parents were, if not all of them were there all the time. At least 2 or 3 of them were there. So it was a good group of kids. And most of them were all pretty good. I mean, stay in touch with them.
So you take over the program, and at that time, was Moravian still in the Mack?
When they were already transitioning to the Empire 8.
So
they weren't an affiliate at that point.
Okay, so what was that experience like playing in the Empire 8? Because primarily based out of what, New York?
It's based primarily, yeah.
So you're taking trips.
Yeah, there were all some long trips. Yeah, I mean the only schools in Pennsylvania were Susquehanna and Scranton.
Okay,
they were all affiliates. I think the first year, Susquehanna might have won the conference. The second year we were leading going. It was a weird count because we had a fall and a spring championship that was combined.
Okay.
So we were tied for the league going into the spring, the second year, my first full year, and we were hosting at Woodstone at our home course. So that wasn't too well received by some of the coaches.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it happened 2 years in a row. Susquehanna hosted the year before and they won, and now we were leading and we were hosting. But we ended up not winning. But we were playing against at that point St. John Fisher from New York was pretty much dominant team in the conference. They were going to nationals every year. We finished second a lot. We could have beat them. We just never tied it all together at that one time.
Yeah, timing.
Yeah, but it was a good experience. I got to know some of the coaches pretty well. Bob Sims from St. John's Fisher was great. We probably butted heads a little bit early because he kind of thought it was his conference, and there's other schools in the conference. So through that, we developed a pretty good friendship. He recommended me for some national committees, which I haven't done fully. I've been on the ranking committees and subcommittees, but again, just time is an issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
With two jobs, kids, and everything else going on. So
you're a part of the transition from the Empire 8 to Landmark Conference Golf. So what was that like, kind of being a little easier travel-wise? You're facing teams that are also in the athletic conference that the rest of the sports are facing. Did you notice a difference in competition level? Was it raised?
The conference was deeper, I would say right away. Where the Empire 8 was maybe 2 or 3 teams that were always going to compete. Definitely deeper. Still some long travel. I mean, Juniata's not close.
Yeah.
Catholic isn't, and some of the DC schools down that way. But it's nice being associated with the same conference, just from a aspect of everybody knows who you're playing, and you're playing the same as the basketball team or the baseball team, or, so you're not kind of the outcast. Golf is kind of off campus all the time anyway, so we don't get as much love from the student body, I would say. They don't come out and watch, or whether they know they can. That's sometimes. Or
that's
sometimes whether I don't know if we want them out there either, because I don't know whether they
etiquette wise,
how they can handle themselves on the golf course. But but other than that, it was a good transition. Of course, there was nobody that wanted to commit to be the golf chair the first couple of years. So of course, yours truly ended up being the golf chair the first few years. So I got an email from the Elizabethtown coach at the time. He emailed me and said, "Yeah, if you want something done, ask a busy person." So that was
exactly
me. So I stepped up and did that for the first couple of years, which was a learning curve. But overall, it's been a good experience. We'll have 2 more teams joining us next fall.
Yeah,
I believe, right? So it's nice to get that exposure and get more teams in.
More competition.
And we're pretty. Right now, there's probably 4 or 5 teams that are competing. Because we were 4th and we were 9 shots out of the first place for the conference. So couple bad swings here or bad decisions, and you're right there. So it's nice to see that with the conference being close. I think it'll be pretty cyclical. I don't think you're going to see a dominant team.
A nice group that compete at the top each time, and being able to see a couple of either the tournaments or invitationals this past year, it's amazing to see the competition level. As you alluded to it, like it's Division III, and there are slight differences, but good, bad decisions, risk, reward,
course management,
all those little things that come into play that could get you a couple strokes closer to the top of the line.
Right. I keep telling the team, hey, every shot counts.
Yeah,
it stinks making a double, but that's better than making triple or quad. So that double might actually help us win a tournament sometime, or things like that. And they just don't. I mean, they're kids. I mean, I thought the same way when I was in college. you're 7 over going into 3 holes, and you're going to birdie to 2 out of the last 3 to shoot a good score, and then you shoot an 84 instead, because you try to do stupid stuff.
Yeah, try to overwork, not play your game or what's going to work to your ability, depending on each hole.
Right. Yeah, I try to explain that to the kids. I mean, I'm a much better player now. I have much more experience competing, and so I know better. And I was the same dumb kid you are in college, trying to do things you're not supposed to try to do, and giving away shots. So I think with me being able to compete still and play with the guys, that also does help. Yeah. With credibility, I can go out and beat them a lot of the times, if not most of the time. This year might be a little tougher with Jake coming in from Freedom. He's a pretty strong player. He just finished 3rd in the Lehigh Valley Open last week.
Wow.
With all professionals and stuff. So he's going to be a good addition. He's going to make me look like a good coach.
Yeah. The conversations we've had is like they may be able to drive the ball farther than you, but you're still finishing the hole before they are. So as long as you're still doing that.
Right. So it gives credibility, and they listen to you a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that helps.
Kind of that Coach Mackovic thing, posting the scorecard up on the wall, like, here you go. This is the 3 strokes I got you by.
That's what's nice about golf. I mean, I can, 10 years from now, I could still possibly be doing that.
Yep.
Where I'm not going to ever go out and beat them on the basketball court right now. One, I'm too small and too slow, and, that kind of stuff. So that's what's nice about the sport.
What can you do with Business Phone from Penn Teledata?
Make a conference call from the coffee shop.
Or connect from the back 9.
With unlimited phone services, 24-hour support, and mobile synergy, our cloud-based technology makes it easy to do business from anywhere. And we do mean anywhere.
No more being stuck in the office.
Which is great for everyone, I think.
Add cloud-based business phone service from Penn Teledata.
Historic Hotel Bethlehem is perfect for any stay. The finely appointed rooms and suites are complemented by excellent dining choices featuring Chef Michael Adams, the tap room for drinks and casual fare, or an upscale dining experience with a view at 1741 on the terrace. For business meetings, visit our Executive Conference Center, stop by our women's boutique for a selection of fashion and jewelry, or grab a cone at our Hotel B ice cream parlor. Historic Hotel Bethlehem is where our history will make the memory of your stay last a lifetime.
Are you looking to get your hands on Moravian University Greyhounds gear? Head over to moraviansports.com and click the link Sideline Store under the tab Fan Zone to find our Moravian apparel store. Each month, there is a promotion that offers a discount to all things Greyhounds, from hats, hoodies, shirts, and more. Head to the Moravian Athletics Sideline Store today, powered by BSN Sports. So we'll move forward into this past season. Have 2 grad students on the team, which is very helpful with Nick Kuhn back, Thomas Licata, and a senior Will Breslin you alluded to earlier in the episode. What was it like to have leadership and in such a older group of guys on the team?
It was great for the team. I mean, the 3 of them lived together. Mm-hmm. Nick he came back. He was 2 years away from graduation, so he was a little bit older. Mm-hmm. So I joked with him about being the old man and all that kind of stuff out there. But just the maturity and making sure they were talking to the guys what the expectations were. If I asked them to do something for me, it was done right away. Mm-hmm. They knew me well enough. I knew them. I knew things would be taken care of. And we did have a good. TJ was a great freshman that came in. Jason had a rougher season, but he'll be, I think, getting there. And then you have Andrew coming back, as he'll be our senior captain this year. So overall, it's a good group of guys. Thomas and Nick and Will definitely be missed. Nick and Thomas were always in the top 4. So the consistency there is good. Yeah. They've all won individual events. Yeah. Which was pretty good. I always joked with Thomas because he didn't have the most, traditional golf swing, you would say. Mm-hmm. But he would get the ball in the hole. Yeah, that's at the end of the day. That's all that matters. He won at Bennett Creek, which is a loaded field. There you have F&M who hosts it. They have three teams. Their third team beat their first team. So obviously they have a deep team. Very deep team. Which I'd love to understand how that happens. But I think one of those guys could start at any other school and actually play more. But then Catholic was there and stuff. We finished, I think, third or fourth as a team. Mm-hmm. We always shoot well out there, shooting the 290s usually. Yeah. And usually compete, which is good because there you're playing against some more national ranked or national playing teams. Mm-hmm. This past fall, kind of back in the swing of things, with coming out of COVID and all kinds of restrictions. Golf was kind of the one sport
that people were able to go out and play. I kind of skipped over this, so I'm sorry about kind of going out of order here, but COVID, golf was kind of the one thing people could go out and play. So how were you able to kind of coach your guys to get out on the course? Was there a lot of coaxing you had to do to get them out there, or they were like, this is the one thing I can do?
No, they were eager to get out there because then they could be out there and be kind of normal.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it was the only thing you could really do that was normal-ish. It was tougher for me a little bit because we were busier than ever at the golf course.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We did record rounds the last few years. But the guys were able to get out there and practice, even though we didn't compete that one fall. We still were able to go out and practice on the golf course and get out there and do stuff, which was just nice to get out there and just talk and, hey, what's going on? And kind of forget about the rest of the world, what's going on out there.
Have that interaction of just like what normalcy is.
Right.
But also have parameters and restrictions within their own right.
And then even that spring, we still were able to, we competed, but there wasn't as much going on.
Correct.
Well, I guess we had the one-day conference event that year. It was different.
Yeah.
Because we had to travel on buses and things like that, and we only had 6 guys on a charter bus. So I'm glad we did for Juniata, though. I didn't have to drive that one. So that was good timing for Lad, at least. I didn't have to drive out to Juniata. But overall, the guys handled it all pretty well. I mean, it was frustrating for some of those guys because they lost a year. Now, luckily, Nick and Thomas both came back. So they Nick actually got 5 years out of it. He just didn't get a conference championship his senior year.
Yeah.
Because it kind of happened, and then he got that fall, but didn't get the spring. But he got he's the only one that ever got 5 spring break trips out of the team. So,
That's
he
right.
got that bonus going for him. So I reminded him of that. So when he's doing, gets a job and gets out there to remember Moravian golf team when he wants to make a donation back, that he got that extra trip out of it. So
absolutely.
So that was kind of neat. But the guys are great. The last few years has been really cool. My son's kind of grown up with the team. I mean, he's 16 now. There's pictures of him still in the archives and website where he's up to waist high on some of the guys, and now he's going on spring break trips and enjoying that and being around them, and they're like big brothers to him basically. I mean, I told the parents of the guys who just left, I said your guys were great. They were good role models for my son and things like that, and that's what it's more about to me.
Yeah.
Being here at school is just, I tell the parents when they come in, I say I want to make them better people. I want them to be, responsible adults, get good grades, and then, if we play great golf along the way, that's great too. But more is that they're respectful and we're not getting in trouble. We're not, hearing from, the guys from the golf team were doing this or doing that, or, that's just something I have them, when they come in, they know I have them sign a code of conduct that I expect, and it's something that they understand it. Over the years, I've suspended the best player for a semester already, and for getting in trouble, and once that happens, it doesn't take long for everybody else to make sure they stay in line or make sure they're a lot smarter, because they think the best player can be hit and anybody can get in trouble. So and I think the parents appreciate that. That helps in recruiting for me, especially having kids. They know I'm looking at it from a parent perspective.
Yeah,
it's not just a coaching perspective, and I don't just say I'm going to do it. I will do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
accountability is huge, especially in a sport like golf where it's
an honor system out there too.
Correct. Being able to hold yourself accountable in the game, but also in life, is a huge proponent to what you put into this program. And I know speaking to a lot of the coaches so far, it's not always about wins, losses, how you've done at events. There's a personal quality of what you're building, like person to person, but golf is golf, but you also want them to succeed in the classroom and be better people when they leave here.
Right.
And building that connection, which you have done, is amazing to see the type of people that come out of this program and what they do after.
Right. Yes, that's really the rewarding thing of coaching. I mean, wins and losses are great. That's what you're remembered by or whatever, get Hall of Fames for, or things like that. But that's not really what I don't think most coaches get into it for.
Correct.
I mean, they all want to win, but we want to be good role models, develop good players, good people. I think that's what's rewarding about it.
So going back to the fall season, you're able to host at Way Hill during the fall for the Moravian Invite. What was that like, finally getting back on the course in like a normal setting?
It was great. I mean, it's always great to be able to host something at Way Hill. It's pretty easy to fill the field. They sign up pretty quickly for that one. But it's always great hosting at the event. And then also having the Mackovic Cup back again, that's always great. I still remind Coach Mackovic that I named the first thing after him. So
and not only was the 6th straight victory of the Mack Cup. So keeping that
Right.
on
And we lost the first 2.
Yeah, and then
from there we won it all since then. But yeah, so I tell him I named the trophy at him. It was a little cheaper than the field, but it's great to have something that'll always be in honor of him. Mm-hmm. It could be 20, 30 years from now. He's still going to be remembered here at the school for the golf program, at least for that, for everything he's done for it. We also were able to host the one outside college event that we were going to play in up at Shawnee.
Yeah, that's right.
Because of Shawnee, we had hurricanes and they had flooding and their bridge was wiped out, and they couldn't host up there. So luckily at Old Homestead, I was able to step in, and we had some open tee times. Hey, we can squeeze you in for that weekend, and we hosted the event at Old Homestead. That's where some of the connection with being in the business helps.
Absolutely.
Other than that, I don't think they would have had the event because they couldn't get anybody else to host it.
Yeah.
So those are things, and we do host the events too. We have more control of setup and.
Yeah.
If there's weather issues or anything like that, remember one time we were hosting Empire 8. There was so much. We played 9 holes. It was pouring. It was supposed to be a 36-hole event. It was raining so hard for the back 9 we had to stop play. Well, because I was the director of golf at the facility, we were able to come out in the morning, finish the back 9 play, and then go right into the 18 so we got the 36 holes in.
That's great.
Even with where if you're at another facility that maybe you don't have control of.
Yeah, it's a
lot
harder
to what they want you to do. Mm-hmm. So those things definitely help. It gives us a third facility to be at too.
Yeah.
We play at Way Hill. We're able to use Bethlehem Golf Club for stuff in the springtime a lot of times. We use the range there, and then guys come up to Old Homestead and play and practice too. So
that's great.
So it's nice to have 3 facilities. And ours are all fairly close. I mean, Bethlehem's 5 minutes.
Yep.
Way Hill's maybe 20 minutes from campus, and then Old Homestead's probably about 35. But that's closer than some of the other programs have for their one facility. But then again, we'll have one even closer here coming soon. I'm sure you'll.
Yeah, we'll
talk
get
about that soon.
Yeah, we'll get to that shortly. Moving into the spring, and we mentioned this glorious weather day at Old Homestead. We're hosting an event. I think we get the first 5 groups off the tee, and then it starts to sleet, hail. It was maybe low 40s, I'd say.
I think it was like 38.
Yeah, I was trying to be a little generous.
It was like 38. But yeah, we had sleet. We had coaches calling. It only sleet for a little bit. They eventually melted on the greens.
It did,
it wasn't, but yeah, that was. It's not uncommon.
Yeah, especially in the spring.
I remember the one event we hosted where we had our career low, the 291. That day it was like 38 degrees.
Yeah.
So to shoot 291 at 38 degrees is pretty impressive.
Yes, to be able to stay within your game and play as well as they did.
But yeah, this year we were up at Glen Mara too. That one we only played 9 holes for the first day because it was so cold and snowy and windy, and the coaches didn't think it was worthwhile to stay out there. We cut it to a 27-hole event, which for us worked out because we won the event.
Correct. Yes.
But yeah, this was probably one of the worst springs temperature-wise.
Yeah.
That I've had. I usually hope not have to use my buggy cover and heater when I'm out watching the players, but that had to be pulled out a couple times this year. I like it much better wearing the shorts and the golf shirt.
Absolutely, yeah.
But so we did try. That's why we went south this spring. It's the first time we went south for an event.
Yeah.
We're going to try to do more and more of that in March when we can get away a little bit maybe, just so we can get some more events in before we actually hit April. And April's such a hit or miss month up here. Sometimes you don't even get the events in up here, or the courses are still closed because there's still snow melting on the golf courses, and it's a tough spring for Northeast golf.
Yes.
So we're going to try to travel a little bit more. Luckily, we have enough funding from a lot of alumni that have given back, especially a lot of over 13 years. I have guys that are giving back now and supporting the program. So that's always nice to see. The phone-a-thon's always interesting to see the list of who they're calling. Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So I'll jump on the phone and talk to some guys. Well, how are they doing? And
keeping those connections.
Just like everybody else, we get busy in life, I don't see my friends from college as much as I'd like to.
Yep.
We all have kids. We all have careers. We live different states. And it's just hard to stay in touch with everybody right now. But do the best we can and try to stay connected with the alumni. That's the big thing I try to do. This year, we're going to try to. It didn't happen. We're going to try to do something more like a Ryder Cup format.
Okay.
So that'll probably be on the works for next year. We're going to bring
nice.
Alumni back, and we can have certain guys from different decades playing against each. They can play against each other if they're on the same team because maybe they might like that better.
Yeah.
Than playing against other teams. But try to bring them back and do some fundraising component to it.
Okay.
But it's more for me. A lot of that stuff's about the connection, keeping them involved with the program.
Yeah, making them feel that camaraderie of what Moravian golf did.
Remember the family atmosphere, and hopefully even bring Coach Mack out to it. So he's not playing as much golf anymore, but at least bring him out so the guys can see him and talk to him. And
yeah, he's an excellent person to talk to. I remember covering one of your practices for a season preview. I believe this was my senior year, so 2017. And we were at Way Hill, and I remember talking to Coach Mack, I don't know, for maybe 45 minutes, and just picking his brain about literally everything of him being around Moravian for so long and what he's meant to the school for golf, and just how he interacted with the student athletes as well. It's just so refreshing to see that he's sharing his memories and his experience with this group of guys is incredible.
Oh, yeah, all the years, look, he was with a soccer coach for 23 years, I think it was, and then my 4 years at school, he was the athletic director.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So he was wearing 2 hats while he was doing that. So it's always, for not being an alum, that I don't think there's many more people out there that love Moravian more than he does, or bleed blue and gray. So, and it's just, and you can see that by the reaction of all the players that have played for him.
Yes,
I think all of us would go through the wall for him if he needed us to. So that's a testament to how the man he is, the loyalty that the school has to a lot of the people that are here.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of a lot of coaches that are still here were coaches when I was in school.
Yeah.
John Byrne just retired, but he was a coach when I was here, and Mary Beth was a coach, and Jeff when I went to school together. So there's a lot of connection that way, which I think is what makes Moravian Moravian.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Mark has been here, I think, 25 years now, and he's not an alum, but he's so involved with the student-athlete experience and everything he's been able to bring and the experiences for even game days or even covering tournaments. The fact that he was able to live stream a golf invitational is just incredible to see.
And you can see the passion for it, too. You hear from a lot of other schools how golf doesn't get anything. And, other coaches, well, what are they? I said, well, no, I have no problem with our SID, our department. I said, they're always covering stuff for me. They're always at the events, or if they can't be there, I get them the cards and they post everything for us. We're always doing articles. And
the conversation, even at the Way Hill Invitational in this past fall, I had a GoPro set up, getting some video footage of the guys on the tee box and taking photos of every player that was there from every institution, and they were like, "This is incredible!" Like, not tooting our own horn, but it's as simple as us getting just photos of people at a tournament. That way those schools have access to promote their programs. And I think that's one thing Mark has done a very good job of during his tenure, is being able to promote each program.
Well, too, if you see, mom and dad see, their son on the website, and maybe down the road they remember that, oh, yeah, look how they treated him. Even if he wasn't the star on the team, he gets treated the same as everybody else, and maybe that keeps loyalty, or maybe gets you a donation down the road to support the programs. Those are the connections you're trying to make.
Correct. It's all towards one, I don't want to say goal, but giving one that total package experience for the student athletes at this level. And if we can do that by a press release, a photo gallery, anything like that, just that touch of personalization towards the student athletes and programs.
And I think just giving them a full experience, even though we're not D1 or a huge D3 program, we're still giving them that college experience. I think I've gotten comments from that. I've gotten letters from former players or players that, hey, even though we're small, it still feels like a Division I program, or it feels like, it's a real program, that kind of thing, which I think the players appreciate. And it just gives them a total experience for the college experience.
Yes.
And it's academics and athletics, which is the Division III model.
Absolutely. We'll touch on a couple of Landmark Conference awards, with TJ Bowl being named Rookie of the Year and First Team in the Landmark Conference. Thomas Licata, Will Breslin also being named to Landmark Conference accolades in the second team. So talk a little bit about what this past year was like for them.
We'll start with Thomas. He was, again, very consistent all year. I believe all 4 years we've had the conference that he's played, he's finished second team every year. So just it's a tribute to his consistency. And he's always been a good leader on the golf course, very personable, never gets too upset, never up or down, just handles himself properly on the golf course, and was always a good leader for the team out there. I think him and Nick helped Will a lot this year, living with him a lot and talking to him more and more, which helped Will get to that position and get on the second team, because he definitely was a talented player. And just sometimes, as a kid, just got in his way mentally. Just seeing him grow to where he was this year was nice. He was very, very competitive this year. So it was good to see those two guys. And then TJ, I expected him to be a strong player coming in this year, but he really played. He had a great fall.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Really came out kind of where we expected him to be. And then he kind of struggled a little bit in the springtime with some of the scores. He just couldn't get away from that one big number, or he'd throw that one bad score in, which would get him up in the 80s or whatever in the scores. So it was nice to see him rebound at the conference, and even had a chance there for a little bit to win it even.
Yeah.
But to finish second in the conference as a freshman is very exciting to see for his future and the team's future, because it's probably going to be the toughest setup where he's going to see in 4 years in the conference, because it was a tough setup. It was over 7,000 yards, par 73. Greens were small, pins were tough. That mentally beats up the kids a lot, and for him to hang in there with that.
And be as youthful as he is on the course competitively at the collegiate level, to be able to rebound and kind of hone in his craft and post the score that he did.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
He did a great job. So, and Nick was right there. He knew where we stood coming in the back nine, so I think he got a little bit more aggressive on some holes than he would have normally to try to force things a little bit. So he missed the second team, which he had a chance at, being a good leader, being a good team player.
Yes.
He knew the other guys were doing okay. He tried to take a couple risk on a couple holes, on a couple of the par fives coming in, and just ended up not having a great round, having an okay round. I think he shot like 86 in his second round, something like that. But it just kind of got him out of the top 10 or 12, I guess that would be. But I know why he did it.
Yes.
Like, he didn't play bad. He tried to help the team out.
The team out, correct. That team aspect of it.
So that's nice to see. It wasn't selfish. Like, he wasn't trying to just protect it for himself.
Yeah.
He wanted to try to win it.
4th place finish in the conference tournament this past season. And a lot to look forward to, although having to replace 3 seniors. But you alluded to one of the recruits coming in for next year. So what does the next year look like for Moravian men's golf?
Well, it looks younger.
Yeah, absolutely.
We lost some grad students. So, but we do have two good freshmen coming in. We have Jake Caberstump from Freedom, and then Robbie McNelly coming in. They're both pretty solid players. Jake's probably going to be, if he plays the way he can through his career here, he probably can push records here at the school and be probably maybe the best, if not second best golfer in school history, in my opinion. And he knows Brian pretty well. He actually gets lessons from Brian. So it's interesting to see that dynamic a little bit, and we get some players from that. Because of that. But Robert's going to be a good addition too. He plays a lot of tournament golf, plays some Hurricane Tour, things like that, which is what I look for. I look for players that are playing more competitive golf. That way they're ready to come in and compete right away.
Yeah.
Just playing scrambles over the summer and coming in isn't going to get you ready for competition. So looking at those kind of players. And then we have Andrew coming back, is very consistent. His schedule will be a little bit of a struggle this year because he's a student teaching. So we do have a lot more weekend events this fall. And in the springtime, it might be, as long as he's available for conferences and the important stuff, we'll just have to kind of balance that out a little bit as we can.
Andrew also plays tennis,
yes.
So the fact that he's been able to balance everything student teacher wise as well, but also be consistent as much as he was. I think I called him Mr. 77 for 4 weeks.
Yeah, 3 in a row there. Yeah, 3 or 4 in a row. Yeah.
So the fact that he's able to compete at the level he does, the true definition of student athlete for sure.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, Andrew's a great kid, really smart kid, great at golf and very good at tennis. Obviously, Andrew, I mean, if you know Andrew, he's not the biggest kid. He's not the guy you would pick out of the lineup being the two-sport athlete and excelling. So that's what's nice about some of the sports.
Yes, absolutely.
You can do that with golf and tennis. But he's a great guy for the team. Doesn't get too up or too down. We're going to work on some things this year with him. I'm going to work on chipping. At Hershey, I found out. I don't know how I ever didn't know this as his coach, but he went to hit a chip shot the one hole, and he hit his shot. And I said, well, why didn't you use like a gap wedge or a sand wedge? Oh, I never chip with those. I only chip with my lob wedge or my pitching wedge. And I never knew this about him. So he's skipping 2 clubs where he could maybe hit better shots, and so we're going to work on that a little bit this fall.
There you go.
But that was kind of a funny kind of like one of those things you just assume.
Still learning every day about the student athlete. Yeah.
Those guys will all be pretty good additions here. And we have Jack coming back. He was a transfer, so he struggled a little bit in the spring, but I think he'll be back. And we have Sam. Jason's could be a good player too. he's probably one of the top 10 ball strikers we ever had on the team. Mm-hmm. He just has to work on some short game and some of the mental side of it. Mm-hmm. So I think he could be that one solid dark horse.
Yeah.
That we add to Jake and TJ, and then with those guys I expect them to be shooting pretty good scores.
Yeah.
Mid 70s or better. And if we can get the other guys to just be in the 70s, we're going to be competing in almost every event we're in.
Absolutely.
And Jason's coming off a broken wrist, so his rehab's all done. He's out. He played the other day. He said he shot a 79 and kind of taking it. Might actually help him. Might swing a little smoother. Not go after everything is hard. So sometimes coming off injuries, it gives you perspective a little bit.
Yeah.
Makes you appreciate what you're doing a little bit more. And so I'm looking forward to the season with all the guys. I think it's a group of guys. And I think our ceilings, it could be anywhere. This could be a team that could win the conference. We just have to tie it all together.
Yes.
Which is always the tough thing.
Yeah.
You need 4 guys to play good. You always have that. So you always get 3, and then that 4th one falls off a little bit. So that's the toughest thing about golf, counting 4 scores out of 5.
Yeah, the team aspect of it.
We're compared to others. I mean, some sports you can get away with an athlete not performing their best because other people can maybe pick them up or take over the slack, or your star shooter isn't shooting great. Somebody else might hit it that night. You never know. So that's the tough thing about golf. Everybody's got to compete every night and perform every event.
Every shot, too. It's it literally could come down to one bad ball strike, or there's so many minuscule things about golf that could go wrong. But sometimes you get the right bounce, the right roll.
Right.
There's a lot of things that go into it that make it more than just
right, just making putts. That's
the
big. I mean, we saw that with the Open Championship.
Absolutely, yeah.
Rory 2-putted every hole and lost because he couldn't make a putt.
Yep.
So that comes down to it, especially when you're getting to the competitive level and you're getting to good players. Mm-hmm. I mean, they generally all hit it good enough.
Yeah.
It's just a matter who can put it in the hole the fastest.
Correct.
And that's what I alluded to before with Thomas. He put it in the hole faster. It wasn't always the prettiest, but it got in the hole.
Yep. We're at this point now, before we wrap up, a big thing that's coming to Moravian is the golf simulator, which we're almost there. I think we're getting pretty close.
I'm going to go check it out right after this and see where we're at.
It's incredible to see. The room is turfed with a putting green with multiple holes. We'll have a simulator in there. Brand new lockers. It's going to be just a full room for just golf. Yep. So how excited are you to kind of have that be brought to Moravian? Where does that put us in the light of other golf programs in the area? Because this is such a very unique, but the quality that's going into
it
this.
It is going to be better than probably half the D1 programs out there, the facility we're going to have for an indoor facility. Very excited about it. Can't wait to get in there and start working with the kids. I mean, having 2 different jobs and the time to be with the kids is always a challenge. Mm-hmm. Well, this is going to be, we can come in and practice at 9:30 at night if I want.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We're going to have chipping,
weather doesn't matter.
Weather doesn't matter. I'll be able to have more time with the team, which I'm really excited about.
And on campus, that aspect you mentioned, that the student population or student athlete population doesn't exactly get to see them or know them as well as some other programs that are on campus. Now having that be in Johnston Hall,
right, and it's going to be right past the weight room for the athletes, and so they'll I'm sure they'll look, hey, what's this room? And they'll see that it's the golf center basically. I don't know. We'll have to come up with a name. We don't have an official name. I don't think
we have a name for it yet.
We got to come up, but it's really going to be pretty cool. Having the lockers there to keep the bags in and be able to come in there and practice. And, we're going to have a TrackMan simulator, which is the best out there. Mm-hmm. And, having the flooring where they can practice the putting and chipping and all that kind of stuff. It's been something I've been pushing for ever since I've been here.
Yeah.
It was a matter of finding time and thanking, the Reinhardt family for the donation and making that happen we can't thank them enough for that because it's not a small price.
No, not at all.
So
yes.
When you look around, with the company that's doing it has done a lot of the D1 programs. They just did Princeton's recently. They did, I know Wake Forest. I know. So when you see the quality of it, it's definitely going to help the players get better, but it'll also, I think, definitely in recruiting.
Yes.
It's like when Mack Field was completed and it's the center of the campus, the lights are on. It just gives it that more of a wow factor. So
that environment too.
Instead of bringing a kid into my office that's 4 walls, I'm going to open a door and Here's our golf room.
Yeah, here. This is where we'll spend time together.
We're going to spend a lot of time together, in the off season and getting better, or when it's raining. Or I think it's going to be a wow factor. I think it's going to definitely help maybe keep the kids from the Northeast here.
Yes.
Because they always want to try to escape south. I'm really looking forward to having, okay, we're going to have practice at the courses these days, and because sometimes we can't get down to Wayhill because they have events going on or things like that. I can say, okay, no Wayhill today, or let's come in and we'll meet at an hour and we'll work on some stuff. Or, if some guys have night classes, they can't get to practice. Because for us, practice is, we have set practices, but if you can't make it, you can't make academics are first.
Yes.
We're just going to the golf course and playing golf and practicing. If you can do it some other time during the day, do it.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily need to be there all the time for that. Just like you see the basketball players in here, they come in, they put the shooting machine up, and they're shooting off time, and
that gives them the capability to do it on campus now.
Right. It's going to be the same opportunity for them. Yeah.
It's going to look incredible.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what it's going to look like. Yeah, it's going to be
a huge selling factor for your sake, the program, and hopefully get a couple more student athletes our way, for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be, last time I looked at it, the lockers had just gotten here.
So that space, to give the viewers and listeners, that space was used. It used to be a dance studio in the back of Johnston Hall. So that's what it was until this past year. Athletic Communications, Mark and I were able to use that as a media room. So we took headshots, green screen photos, anything like that. We did some interviews back there. Now it's being transitioned into this golf room. It's amazing to see the progression. It doesn't even look like it was anything else before. Like it looks...
It looks like it was meant to be that, yes.
Exactly. And the fact that it's going to...
And it's a big space. It's 20 by 40. So, it's not where a lot of schools put them in like old racquetball courts.
Yeah.
Where you just have the simulator.
Yeah, no,
this
is a full-blown...
There's going to be some chairs there for the guys to hang out and maybe do some classwork while they're hanging out there too. Or it's kind of going to be their home away from home on campus.
Yes. To finally give them some place that feels like their own on campus.
Right. They're going to get more connectivity to the college and things like that, which will be really, really cool.
Absolutely. Well, Kevin, thank you for spending some time with me on this episode of the Hounds Huddle podcast, getting to kind of reflect on your time as a student athlete here, all the way from Riverview and being a part of the transition of that, all the way to now Old Homestead and coaching, heading into your 13th season as the head coach of the men's golf program. So I appreciate you taking time and catching up with me. Always enjoy a conversation with you, and thanks for doing this.
All right, thanks for having me, LJ. And as always, it's always a great day to be a Hound.
I had a great time talking with Kevin Edwards, the Moravian men's head golf coach. We had the opportunity to reflect on his past as a student athlete, working as a club pro, and finishing his 12th year at the helm of the Greyhounds men's golf squad. Be sure to follow the golf program on social media at Hounds Golf on Twitter and at Moravian Golf on Instagram. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and follow Moravian University Athletics as well. That's all I have for you on this episode of the Hounds Huddle podcast. Until next time, I am LJ Smith, signing off.